to win those games.
A big OCC Ohio confrontation. You take a look at those games. 5 of those losses were decided in the last minute of the game. And earlier, I had a chance to talk to both head coaches. I talked to David Miller from Reynoldsburg High School, and I also had a chance to talk to Terry Yoakum from Westerville South about this game. Coach, the Raiders with a 6-2 mark through the first 8 games of the season. Are you happy with that record?
Basically, yes. We have lost 2 ball games that we really thought we had an opportunity to win, but there's some things that we're really looking to improve that our 6-2 record has shown. We think we have some areas that need some attention if we're going to improve upon our record and maintain it the rest of the season.
Tuesday night, you had a tough loss at the hands of Worthington, 38-35. Joe Neiman sprained his ankle in the first half. Any idea if he'll be ready for the game Friday night against Westerville South?
It's a day-by-day thing with this. We've got ice on it. We're just going to have to wait and see how well he responds. I doubt if he'll be able to practice much. We'll see how he feels in warm-ups. If he thinks he can go, we'll go with him. If he doesn't, then we'll have to look for a different combination to put on the floor.
The Raiders 6-2. As we said, you've played 8 games this season. Now, Tuesday night we had a game with Bexley, for example. They have played 13 games already this season. Do you like to play more games early in the season, or do you like to save some of those games for before tournament time?
Well, we'd really like to have the bulk of our games towards the end of the season. I'm very tournament conscious. I like to have teams ready to play well. I like to have time at the start of the season to make sure that we get a number of things in the offense before we have to play. So basically the schedule's laid out the way we'd like it.
Coach, you play the Wildcats Friday night, always a tough game up at Westerville South. What do you feel you have to do offensively and defensively to be successful against the Wildcats?
Well, Terry's teams are very, very well coached, and it's always a challenge. I can't remember beating Terry at Westerville South, so if we can pull this off, it'll be a first. But offensively, we just have to really concentrate on our shot selection and executing our offense. That's what failed us Tuesday night against Worthington. Defensively, we're pretty happy with the matchup zone that we're playing. We're limiting opponents to like 35% from the field and only giving up about 43 points a ball game. That's a pretty good defense for a high school basketball team. We just have to improve offensively if we're going to compete with them.
Coach, best of luck to the Raiders Friday night.
We'll need it. Thank you.
Coach, the Wildcats 3-7 through the first 10 games of the season. Are you happy with the start this year in 85-86 for Westerville South?
Well, I don't think you're ever happy when you've lost more games than you've won, but as far as the outcome, in 6 of those 7 games, we either had a chance to win or tie in the last minute and didn't do so. So, we're just waiting to get the break to get us back on track. I think we're playing pretty well. It's just that little mistakes come back to haunt you at the end of the game.
Young Mr. Miller, I know, a member of the varsity for 4 years here at Westerville South High School, but who are some of the other players we can look for the Wildcats on Friday night?
Well, Troy Mooney is our floor leader, our point guard. He played quite a bit last year. Chad Reynolds returned to us from London. He spent a year at London after growing up here in Westerville. Aaron Ramey will probably see a great deal of playing time along with Mickey Badar. As far as people coming off the bench, I think that just depends on what the game dictates, but we'll probably play, I would say, 7 or 8 players.
Can we look for a controlled offensive game Friday night, a score in the 40s or 50s?
Well, I think a lot of that may be dictated by Reynoldsburg also. They have a tendency to slow the tempo down. I noticed in last night's game with Worthington, they delayed for quite some time. Whether or not they'll press, but I would not be surprised if we had to try to do some things to speed the game up.
Let's get to the meat of the matter now. What do you feel you have to do offensively and defensively to come out on top Friday night against the Raiders?
I think our biggest concern right now offensively is the fact that they're going to play a matchup zone, a combination defense. Probably like most of the people we play, they're going to sag back inside on Scott and try to deny him the basketball, which means we've got to get some good ball movement. We've got to hit some shots from the outside to loosen it up. And really, that's where we've had trouble this year. We have not shot well from the outside. So that's going to be the job that we'll have to do, because if we don't shoot from the outside, we won't be able to get it inside to Scott. Defensively, I think we're going to have to try to do some things to speed them up. I don't think we can let them come down and take all the time and get people where they want them to be. Size is a problem. We are ending up guarding people like 6'3" and 4 forwards with a 5'11" player. And, right away you're talking about giving up second shots and creating problems when they post us up. But that's something we faced all year, so it won't be anything new.
Coach, we're looking forward to our first game at Westerville South High School this Friday night. Best of luck to the Wildcats tonight and throughout the remainder of the season.
Well, I appreciate that. I think you'll find out coming here is very enjoyable. We have a great staff of people working the game, and I think you'll notice it's different than going to a lot of other places.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coach, you heard the other two coaches talk about this a little earlier. I think it's a point we should touch on with the fans. We should not expect a high-scoring game tonight, should we?
Well, generally, the Yoakum coach clubs and the Dave Miller coach clubs play possessive ball. They work for the good shot, play sound defense. So, no, I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game.
What do you feel the key is to the game tonight?
Well, Terry's concerned about his guards, and I think his guard play has got to be the key because Miller, their inside player, is one of the better scorers, and he gets the sagging defenses. If their guards play well, they got a good chance to win.
For the Raiders, we'll have to see what the status of Joe Neiman is after that ankle injury suffered Tuesday night in that loss to Worthington. I'd like to tell you something right now. We'll be working without a couple cameras tonight. Our character generator will not be functioning. Coach and I do not have a monitor or headsets, but we're going to try to bring you the game to the best of our ability. We apologize for the technical problems. Hang with us. It's a good game. Westerville South and Reynoldsburg coming up right after this. Game between the Raiders and the Wildcats of Westerville South, tip controlled by the Wildcats of Westerville South. We took a look at their starting lineups a little earlier. Right now, that's Troy Mooney with the ball. Now he dishes it off to Chad Reynolds. Interesting combination. Quarterback and wide receiver for both of these teams out there on the court tonight. The shot is up by Reynolds. No good. Rebound fought for inside. Joe Neiman tips it over to Rolling. And we've got a violation called on the Reynoldsburg.
Tried to gain control of the ball and hit it off his knee there. He had a guy open down the floor, but it's a costly turnover.
We apologize tonight. For the first time in 3 years, we're having some technical problems. Neither coach nor I can hear each other, and we have no monitor, so we're doing it blind tonight. Inside, Miller to the basket. No good. Rebound fought for. That's Ross Shook for the Raiders. 7:30 left to go. First period. No score. Glad to have you on coaxial and All-American. Shook now will bring it up court for the Raiders. Out there with Urbanik, Neiman, Rolling, and the sophomore Sean Lautner. Urbanik, Neiman from 15, short, no good. Rebound into the hands of Mickey Badar.
Well, they started Bodner tonight in place of the regular starter in there, and looks like he's going to give them a little bit of rebounding help. They've been having a hard time with teams sagging back in the zone against Miller.
Ramey is a surprise starter. Urbanik tries to save. And on the turnover, the Wildcats get the ball back with 6:54 left to go here in the first period. Setting up the offense now, Troy Mooney. Troy averaging just over 7 points a game. His high of the season was 12 against Northland. With it now is Ramey. Ramey to Chad Reynolds. He is the son of Dick Reynolds, the head basketball coach at Otterbein. 6:40 first period, no score.
Reynoldsburg's playing a 2-3 zone. They're playing it back in pretty tight, giving Westerville the outside shot.
Badar's shot is short. We come back the other way now. 6.5 left to go. That's Joe Neiman. Baseline puts it up. No good.
Good block out then by the Westerville defense.
Scott Miller with a rebound, coming into the game averaging 9 per game. The Wildcats will set it up. We'll go over the schedule that the Wildcats have had so far this season and some of the close games they've had. It's really incredible. That 3-7 record, a bit misleading. They've been in 9 of the 10 ball games. That's Ramey. Going up against that 2-3 put up by the Wildcats again. Mooney looking for help. Gets it out to Ramey. Around the perimeter now. We're down to 5:50. Still no scoring here in the first period. Hesitation. Step by Mooney. Puts up the shot. He got it.
That was a good effort that he made a head fake, dove to his left, hit the jump shot. They're trying to pick the right side of the Reynoldsburg defense with Badar trying to free for the shot off the wing over there.
Mooney with 2, 5.5 left to go. That's Lautner on a wing for the Raiders. Rolling, fakes, pass Badar, and a double dribble violation called on Rich Rolling.
And there again, he had an opening, but as he went, he moved his pivot foot. It's probably a good thing because it looked like he might have charged.
The officials for tonight's game, Bill Mason, the tall official on the court, 25 years of officiating experience. The other official, Tom Venditelli. Tom also with 25 years of officiating experience. In fact, the two officials that we had in the game Tuesday night when we were at Groveport for the Bexley-Groveport overtime thriller. 5:13 left to go. Badar inside, but we've got a traveling violation called.
Well, it's been a game of turnover so far. Neither team has really played well. They're a little bit sluggish, but I imagine once they get settled down, it'll develop into a good ball game.
Chris Urbanik working on Troy Mooney now. Gets it over to Shook. Reynolds hawking him. That's Joe Neiman. Neiman with that sprained ankle, as we said Tuesday night, from way outside. Rolling takes a shot, and we have a push-off inside called on the Wildcats. First team foul of the evening will go on number 14, Aaron Ramey, for Ramey, his first.
Now, they were blocking out pretty well then, but they got a little bit too aggressive inside.
Lautner to inbound, near 5 seconds, and we do have a 5-second call on that inbound attempt by the Raiders.
Well, because the length of the pass, the ball's in the air near the midcourt, that's what allowed the extra count to go and cost them the ball.
Once again, we apologize for the technical problems. Coach and I cannot hear each other, so we're using hand signals to cue each other. And we have no visual idea of what you're seeing on the screen right now, but we're bringing it to you just like radio. That's Reynolds, top of the lane, drives by Urbanek, puts it up, he got it.
An excellent drive. He gave a little fake to left, found a gap, went to the basket, laid it up.
You'll see no CG, so I'll update you on the score throughout the evening. 4-0 now in favor of the Wildcats as Urbanek makes a move to the basket. He is fouled by number 44, Mickey Badar. For Badar, that is his first foul and the team's second.
Again, we've got two competent officials here tonight, Bill Mason and Tom Vendatelli, who refereed in the Central District for years. A lot of experience, a lot of know-how, and really make a good game because they call the kind of game that keeps the players active and they gain their respect, which makes for a good call basketball game.
Urbanek from the line of the season shooting 65.3%. He'll have another. In and out, no good. Neiman strong inside with a rebound. No good, but we have another foul called inside. And this one will also go on the Wildcats. Picked up by number 40, Scott Miller, for Scott his first. And now 3 team fouls on the Wildcats. 4-0 to score, 4:32 left to go in the first period. And the Wildcats have not committed 5 yet. On the common foul, the Raiders will inbound. Baseline, that's Urbanek. Working on Mooney. That's Shook from 17 over to Urbanek now. No character generator tonight, so we will update you on the score and all the information throughout the evening. That's Shook. He gets it to Neiman now. Neiman travels as he tries to make that move down the lane. So often the players' eyes get so big when they see that opening down the lane, Coach.
Well, they make that little fake, and of course, if you start that dribble up from a high position, it allows that pivot foot to slide. The key there is to drop the ball before you move your feet.
Turnovers unofficially already in tonight's game. We played half of the first quarter. 5 for the Raiders, 1 for the Wildcats. That's Reynolds with it right now. Finds an opening baseline, puts it up off the glass, no good. Fought for inside, that's Shook. 3:58 left to go, a 4-0 lead for Westerville South.
Westerville South in a pretty aggressive man-to-man defense.
Shook open on the wing. Air ball. Urbanek fighting for it, out of bounds. Last touch by Urbanek, out of bounds, and the Wildcats get it back with 3:47. Talk about the schedules now. As we said, the Raiders 6-2 on the season. They beat Pickerington 50-37, Groveport 51-48, Whitehall 72-45. They lost to UA 72-52. They beat Grove City 45-43, beat Whetstone 64-42, Gahanna 51-43, and they lost last Tuesday night to Worthington 38-35. Substitution in the game, Travis Perry checks into the ball game for the Reynoldsburg Raiders, and going out is Ross Shook. Mooney will take it from 20, back of the iron. That's Lautner with a rebound. 3:28 left to go, 4-0 in favor of Westerville South. Rolling, yes.
And that was a good pass down the court, and Rolling got ahead of the defense before he could get set and hit the jump shot.
And the Raiders now cut that lead to 4-2 with 3:15 left to go in the first period. A reminder, coming up at halftime, we'll take a look at our Roush Sporting Goods, Coaxial Communications, and All-American Cablevision players of the game from last Tuesday night's barn burner, I guess we can say. Jimmy Crum won't mind. Bexley and Groveport in overtime. Miller's shot is short, looking for a foul, no call. We come the other way. That's Rolling behind the back. Great agility for the 6'4 center. Perry from the wing, no good. And a push-off inside call on number 32 of the Raiders. That's Sean Lautner.
Well, Perry played against Whitehall. We had their game, and he looked very good in that game. And I think they're going to have something to spark them on a wing shooting situation.
For Lautner, that is his first and the first team foul on the Raiders. Travis Perry was scheduled to start in that Whitehall game that we did, and we didn't understand why he did not go out there at the starting 5. David Miller told us he lost a contact lens and they had to go home and get his goggles because he didn't have a replacement with him. Raiders will get the ball back now. The turnover with 2:38 left to go. 4-2 is the score, first period. We'll also be entertained at halftime, hopefully, by the Wildcats little drill team they have here called the Wild Cadets. That's coming up at halftime. Rolling turnaround jumper inside, in and out, no good. Rebound pulled down by Troy Mooney. 2-on-4 situation now for the Wildcats. Mooney will slow it down baseline. And we got a reach-in foul called on number 33. Travis Perry will pick up the foul.
Well, he brought the ball down the left sideline. Looked like he might have had Miller open across court, but then again, what we see up here and what's down the floor might be a little bit different.
For Perry, that is his first, the second team foul on the Raiders this evening. 4-2 the score in favor of Westerville South. 2:14 left to go, and as we talked about earlier, Coach, we expected a low-scoring game tonight. Reynoldsburg's defense giving up just 46 points a game, and next break in action, I want to go over those Westerville South scores again. That's Ramey looking for help, gets it back out now to Reynolds. Mooney. Raiders camped inside that paint in that 2-3. The shot is up and good.
They're playing a little bit different against their zone there. They're trying to use a pick on the top two in the 2-3 zone to free their guards, and it's been fairly effective up to this point.
4 of the 6 Wildcat points by Troy Mooney. 6-2, 1:40 left to go. And they'll inbound the ball from side court. I think we had some debris going out on the court. Tom Venditelli making the signal, and they will inbound once again with 1:38 left to go here in the first period. Coach, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, the headsets are working. We'll try to solve these one at a time. Long pass up court to Mooney. Yes.
Well, it was good alertness in. Mooney got ahead of the defense and was able to make the layup.
6 of the 8 now for Mooney. 8-2 in favor of Westerville South. 1:23 left to go first period. Off the hands of Travis Perry and out of bounds, and on the turnover, the Wildcats get it back. Don Robinson checks into the ball game now for the Raiders, and the Raiders take a timeout with 1:21 left to go. That's their first. They still have 3 remaining. The Wildcats their full complement of 4 timeouts. Turnovers unofficially 8 for the Raiders, 2 for the Wildcats. Let's go over those scores for the Wildcats of Westerville South. I tell you, when you take a look at it, Coach, it's really incredible. Their record is 3-7, 1-4 in the OCC Ohio. First game of the season, they lost to Beechcroft 48-42. They were down by just 2 points with a minute to go in that game. They defeated Watterson 57-38. Then they lost to St. Charles 55-53, a game they actually led by 3 with about 85 seconds left to go. In fact, they missed some free throws at the buzzer that could have tied that game and sent it into overtime. They lost to Gahanna 37-35 on a 15-foot jumper with 2 seconds left to go in that game. Then they defeated East 57-56, lost to Grove City 68-64, lost to Northland 62-58 in that ball game. They had the ball and a chance to tie with just 20 seconds left. They beat Westland 52-50. They scored with 4 seconds left to win that game. They lost to Groveport 53-48 in overtime. In that game, they were up by 2 with 12 seconds left, but Groveport scored to tie and won in overtime. And they lost by their largest margin of the season last Friday night against UA, 59-49.
Of course, that only indicates one thing, that the ball club is playing with a little bit of probably apprehension down in the last 3 or 4 minutes of play, and that could change the second round. And maybe they could pull some of those games out that they lost in this first round.
Robinson replaced Perry for the Raiders. Reynolds looking inside for Miller to the basket. He's got it.
That's a classy pass in, a little backhand bounce pass, caught Miller, and he powered his way in for 2 points.
Miller coming off a 20-point performance against UA last Friday. It is now 10-2 in favor of Westerville South with 53 seconds left to go. Rolling shot off the glass, in and out, no good. Neiman fighting for the rebound on the floor. Lautner has it, dishes it back out to Urbanek. And we've got a 3-second lane violation called on the Raiders. And we have life to our monitor, Coach.
That's great.
As we said, we apologize. First time in 3 years we've been working on high school sports that we've had this. We've done games in 10 below. We did games throughout rain. In fact, 7 of the 10 games I think we did during the regular season had rain in football. We almost got hit by lightning in one of the games. This is the first time we've had any problems. Well, we're very happy to be here at Westerville South High School for the first time to bring you high school basketball 86 on coaxial and All-American. 42, Dave Schneider into the ball game for the Wildcats, along with number 32, Mike Payne. That's Reynolds with it now with 17 seconds left to go.
Reynoldsburg's in a man-to-man defense now. They're switching their 2-3 zone, trying to get good pressure.
We're down to 9 seconds left to go. Reynolds will take it. In and out, no good. Urbanek with 5, with 4, with 3 at midcourt. The ball on the floor. Neiman with 2, with 1. Yes! Joe Neiman hits it from about 22 feet away, and Joe Neiman cuts that lead to 10-4 at the end of the first period. We'll be back with second quarter action in just a moment.
Well, it's going to be snow time, and I hate to say that, but here at Graham Ford, we're ready for it. Have you seen this F-250? Oh, with the great Ford and the snowplow, you talk about taking care of any snow problem, plus the Bronco 2s and the Rangers. A great price on them. Many times, you know, you get one of these, you pay for it. Just taking care of your neighbor's yard or what have you. Why don't you come by Graham Ford, see a good selection of them. 707 West Broad, right here, 315. We can finance them. We'll give you a great price. You come see us and get ready for wintertime.
A lot of you are watching this commercial on a 19-inch TV. Nice, but a little crowded. Some of you have a 25-inch set. Gives you a little more elbow room. Now, this is Zenith's new 27-inch television, the big picture, with more picture from corner to corner, plus an incredibly sharp, even larger image. Zenith Advanced System 3 27-inch television, a size you could get comfortable with. The smart set's smarter than ever.
Welcome back to Westerville South High School. 10-4 the score at the end of one period of play. Westerville South on top, alternating possessions. The Raiders get the ball to start the second period. Robinson to inbound. He does so to Lautner. Don Robinson picked up by Reynolds right now. That's Chris Urbanek. And let's see if that shot by Neiman at the end of the first quarter gives the Raiders some spark as he starts off right where he left off.
Well, that seemed to give him a little bit of pep there. At least they got the ball in the hole before the end of the quarter, and he followed up with a nice shot there.
4 for Neiman, scoring at the end of one. Mooney had 6, Miller 2, and Reynolds 2 for Westerville South. Neiman had 2 and Rolling 2 for the Reynoldsburg. 4 points at the end of the first period. 10-6 right now, 7.5 left to go. And that Raider defense, coach, coming out further from the basket.
Right, they've switched into their man-to-man now. They've gone out of their zone. Now they're dropping back to the zone. They're sort of alternating their defense, trying to create pressure on the ball coming down the floor.
Badar's shot is no good. Kind of what we used to call a Chinese defense. Inside, Ramey's shot is no good. Badar with the rebound inside. Block. 2 attempts no good. And we've got a foul called inside. It will go on Don Robinson. Robinson picks up his first team foul, number 3.
Well, they did a good job keeping the ball up on the glass end. Unfortunately, couldn't get the ball to fall in, but at least they're going to go to the foul line.
Back into the game, Mike Payne wants to come in, but he's going to come in, it looks like, for Badar. Let's see if it is a shooting foul or not. It probably will not be a shooting foul. And Badar will take a seat on the bench. It's Ramey along with Badar, Payne, Miller, and Troy Mooney on the court.
I guess it's not the one-on-one yet.
3 team fouls each. The question was whether that was a shooting foul or not. They ruled it was not. Only 3 team fouls each. The shot is up and good by Miller. And that advances that lead now out to 6 at 12-6 with 6:57 left to go. 4 for Miller. That's Lautner. Tries to get it inside. It's kicked by Ramey.
And Miller's got a good strong move off that post, and he's been doing a great job scoring for him, around 17 points a game, around 60% from the field. So that's a bread and butter player, but they got to hit from the outside a little bit.
Raiders just avoid the 5 count again. Rolling inside from 12. In and out, no good. Tipped around, fought for, pulled down by Mike Payne, the 6'3" junior, averaging a point a game. And we've got a traveling violation called. Now, Payne is coming off of a football injury. He dislocated his ankle with about 4 games left to go in the football season, and he really is just getting himself into basketball shape right now.
Well, I think that's true. I think you'll find, like we mentioned in the last telecast, that these teams now will either get better or get worse. I mean, markedly better or worse, because it's make or break time for a lot of teams.
Inside, Miller over Neiman. Yes. Scott Miller, a 4-year member of the varsity at Westerville South High School, now increases that lead to 14-6. 6 for Miller on the evening. Miller, in fact, was the 6th man for this team as a sophomore. Neiman top of the key, but we've got a push off inside called on the Wildcats.
Well, Rolling's had some tough luck with shooting. He's had 2 or 3 balls right down in the basket, but he's a good player. If he keeps shooting, those will start dropping for him.
Foul goes on Troy Mooney. For Troy, that is his first. And I trusted the public address announcer, and I got burned. The foul goes on Mike Payne. For Mike, that is his first foul. Pass is stolen. Here comes Aaron Ramey the other way now with 6:07 left to go here in the first half. Ramey, baseline Mooney. Lautner kicks it out of bounds with 6:01 left to go. Reminder at halftime, we'll take a look at our Roush Sporting Good player of the game. 1 from Bexley, 1 from Groveport from last Tuesday night. What an outstanding game that was. Bexley came out on top 65-63 in overtime. That's Ramey with it right now. Picked up by Robinson. Reynolds baseline. Working on Urbanic. Ramey brings it back out now. That's Troy Mooney. 5:50 left to go. Ramey inside, gets it to Payne. Tries to dish it back out on the wing. And the pass goes astray. He was looking for Troy Mooney. On the turnover, the Raiders get the ball back with 5:46 left to go.
That's a good play against the zone defense. Hit that post guy and go baseline. The only thing was he put the ball on the floor a little bit too soon back to the cutter.
Shook in, Robinson out, Badar in, and Payne out for the Wildcats. 14-6 is the score. We do have cameras working, at least 2. We don't know the quality of the camera right now, if it's in registration or not, but we hope you're enjoying the game at home. And remember, this is the first time in 3 years we've had this problem, so please bear with us. Urbanic. That's Joe Neiman now. And the Wildcats spreading that man-to-man out even further, picking up about 25 feet away from the basket. Neiman, Lautner, behind his back, loses it. On the floor, Reynolds trying to tip it forward to Mooney. Scramble for it on the floor, and the football nature is coming out, and everyone, we're back down to playing on our knees again. And we're going to have a jump ball called. Alternating possessions, the ball will go to the Wildcats.
That looked like a floor version of hockey there. They were just knocking that ball around like a puck for a while.
A little bit like knee basketball. Don Robinson back into the ball game, and Joe Neiman will take a seat with 5:08 left to go, and Westerville South up 14-6. It was 10-4 Westerville South at the end of one period, and they've continued that dominance here in the second period. They're 3-7 on the year, as we said. Terry Yoakum in his 16th year at Westerville South High School, 19 years coaching altogether. Shot up by Ramey, no good. Badar with a rebound inside, gets it back out to Ramey. The Wildcats will set it up one more time. It's Troy Mooney. Ramey, they've been looking for Miller inside or looking for Badar weak side. Reynolds dishes it back off to Ramey now. Mooney is open, makes his move inside, puts it up from 9. Yes!
It's a good move. He had good position there. He got through the initial defense and hit the jump shot.
Half of the 16 Westerville South points by Troy Mooney now. Inside
nice
rolling. Great pass by Ross Shook.
Left-handed bounce pass. Got rolling to the basket.
Rolling to the basket. 4 for Rolling. 16-8 right now. 4:15 left to go. Reynolds inside. Miller working on Rolling to the basket. Strong.
Well, they can't allow that ball to get in that deep on the block. He's a good, strong boy, and he protects the ball well going up. It's got good touch.
8 for Miller now. 18-8 in favor of Westerville South. Urbanic desperation shot inside, and the shot is rebounded by Rolling, cutting the lead now to 8 at 18-10. 6 for Rolling on the evening. 3:55 left to go here in the first half.
And he's really had some tough shooting luck. I mean, those last 2 baskets weren't that tough, but when you get one to drop for you regardless, sometimes that relaxes just a little and that ball starts falling.
And quite a student Rich Rolling is, a 4.0 at Reynoldsburg High School. 18-10 the score. That's Mooney, and we've got a foul called inside on the Raiders. Let's see if it goes on Sean Lautner. It does. For Sean, that will be his second foul. Team foul number 4 on the Raiders. Not over the limit yet, so the Wildcats will inbound side court.
Reynoldsburg's playing zone on out-of-bounds situation and picking up man-to-man in transition, so they're giving a little bit of problems on defense, but Westerville's done a good job getting the ball inside to the big man, and Mooney's had a real good start.
Mickey Badar tries to get it back out to Aaron Ramey, throws it astray. With 3:42 left, the Raiders get the ball back. Badar's last name is spelled B-R-D-A-R. That is the correct spelling of his name. Chris Urbanic, Don Robinson. Don seeing a lot more playing time as the Raiders go further into their OCC Ohio schedule, but he's called for a traveling violation. Joe Neiman now back into the ball game for the Raiders. And Robinson will take a seat. Unofficially, turnovers almost a 2-to-1 ratio already. Unofficially, Reynoldsburg with 13, Westerville South with 7.
Now that's partly why you see a low score. They're really not stalling the ball, and the defense hadn't been that great, but they're turning the ball over. Of course, good defense does create turnovers.
That's Mooney. Miller taken away by Shook. We come the other way. 3:15 left to go. Lead pass for Rolling. Strong gets it back to Shook. He got it.
Okay, that's a nice play. Rolling used his head then. He saw the defense sag when he caught the ball, flipped it back to the jump shot.
And an impromptu give and go in that situation. 18-12 now the score at 3 minutes left to go in the first half. Mooney is working on Urbanic, a battle of wide receivers. Now it's Ramey. Gets it to Mickey Badar. Takes it baseline. Miller inside, loses the handle, fighting for it. Shook is all over the court for the Raiders right now. Ramey slows it down to 2:43. Reynolds tempted to. He'll take it, splits the defense from 15. Tipped away, Reynolds saves into the hands of Shook. The Raiders now with a chance to cut the lead to 4. 18-12, 2.5 left to go. Neiman, yes.
He got his rhythm on that shot, went up, hit a nice shot off the baseline.
6 for Neiman. It's 18-14, 2:20 left to go in the first half. Mooney all the way to Bedard. Can't get the roll. Gets his rebound. He got it.
And Bedard stayed with the ball. That's a good thing to do. He missed the first one, but didn't drop his head. He went right back up and got it and put it in.
20-14 now. We're down to 2 minutes left to go in the first half. That's Sean Lautner. And a reach-in foul will be called on the Wildcats. Sean Lautner not afraid. You know, Coach, we've seen a lot of sophomores, a little tentative, but Lautner, with not a lot of JV experience, has moved up and done a good job on the varsity for the Reynoldsburg Raiders this year.
Well, Reynoldsburg's got a good basketball team. They've lost a couple tough games, but they got some competitors, and if they keep playing hard, they can stay right in the thick of the fight.
And you notice also that our switcher is down, so every so often we can change cameras for you, but we can't switch with the rapidity that we normally do during a high school basketball game, but we carry on. We love sports. We hope you do too. Coming into the ball game, number 32, Mike Payne, will replace number 44, Mickey Bedard, who'll take a seat. Sean Lautner goes to the line. Lautner averaging the game 71%, misses that one. Urbanek now will set it up for the Raiders one more time. Neiman's open.
He's got the hot hand now, so he's keeping him in the ball game.
8 for Neiman, 20-16 in favor of Westerville South. 1:38 left to go, first half. Mooney working on Urbanek. See the Wildcats playing, a lot of people call it the flex. I guess you call it the old box shuffle.
Right. Well, you see that quite often now. A lot of teams are starting to use that because it got pretty popular. It's sort of a version that Miami University brought around here. About 5 years ago. Of course, we saw it several years ago. We always called it the box shuffle. They get into it a little bit different, but it's still got the same mechanics. The pick down, the pick away, and the baseline cut.
Mooney makes it a 5-point lead now. The foul goes on Chris Urbanek for Chris, his first. Taking a look at the Reynoldsburg points, Neiman and Rolling have 14 of the 16, and Miller and Mooney have just about all of the Westerville South points too at 21-16. Second shot no good. That's Rolling with a rebound. 1:22 left to go. Chris Urbanek, baseline Shook, back out to Urbanek. 17 of the 21 for Miller and Mooney, and the shot is up and good by Rolling. 21-18, Coach.
The teams are starting to find their stride now. They're loosening up a little bit and get a little more relaxed in their offense. Their defense has been good up to this point.
3-point lead for the Wildcats, stripped away by Chris Urbanek, fighting for it with Ramey. Urbanek comes up with it. Urbanek tries to make a move in the lane. He's blocked off by number 32, Mike Payne, and Payne will pick up the foul. That is team foul number 5 for the Wildcats in the first half.
Urbanek's football ability came through then, the ability to stay with the ball and not lose concentration. He come up with the ball and then created the fouling situation.
And I was just going to say that, Coach, a collision of 2 football players. The wide receiver won that one. Urbanek go for 2 from the line. Chance to cut that 3-point lead. Neiman with a rebound. 51 seconds left to go. Rolling inside.
It's a good pass, and he hit him with that bounce pass, and Rolling's quick with his shot. He turned around quickly and got the ball up for the defense to pressure him.
10 for Rolling. What was a 10-point lead is now won at 21-20. 38 seconds left to go. That's Mooney to Ramey. Dave Schneider back into the ballgame for the Wildcats. Reynolds has it now, working on Urbanek. We're down to 27 seconds left to go. That's Mooney. Raiders back in that 2-3, sagging inside. Schneider with the ball now. Miller. We're down to 15. The Wildcats content to wait for just one shot, looking for the opening. Ramey down to 11. Shook goes for it. Mooney with 9 seconds left to go now. Schneider with 6, with 5, with 4. with 3 inside taken away. Here comes Shook with 2, with 1. He can't get the shot off in time. And that's the way we end the first half. But what a second period for the Reynoldsburg Raiders. They outscore Westerville South 16-11 and cut the lead to 1. It's 21-20 in favor of Westerville South at halftime. And each and every game, Coach and I pick our Roush Sporting Goods, Coaxial Communications, and All-American Cablevision players of the game, one from each school. The school receives a plaque that it gets to keep in the player's name, and the player receives a framed certificate. Let's go to a message now from Roush Sporting Goods.
For each game during high school basketball, Roush Sporting Goods will recognize the outstanding players of the game, selecting one player from each of the competing teams. The schools will receive this beautiful engraved plaque honoring their outstanding player, and the player will receive this framed certificate. We here at Roush Sporting Goods are extremely proud to be a part of this worthwhile program that recognizes the excellence of today's young people. So stay tuned, and at the end of the game, the recipients of tonight's awards will be announced. Now let's take a moment and look at the 2 most valuable players from our last game.
Last Tuesday night, we were at Groveport High School as the undefeated Bexley Lions took on the Groveport Cruisers. Our Roush Sporting Goods, Coaxial Communications, and All-American Cablevision players of the game. First of all, from Bexley High School, we picked number 3, Mike Millard. Mike, a 6-foot junior starting guard for the Lions, went into the game averaging 15 points a game. He came out with 12, but they were 12 very important points. He had 10 in the second half and 8 in the fourth quarter. So Mike Millard is the player of the game from Bexley High School. For the Groveport Cruisers, we picked starting guard number 12, Lavoy Mitchell, as their player of the game. Lavoy is 5'9" and a senior, averaging just 6 points a game. Lavoy did an outstanding job of running the Cruiser offense, getting 17 points in that game, but it wasn't enough as Millard and the Lions went on to a 65-63 win in overtime. So Mike Millard from Bexley and Lavoy Mitchell from Groveport High School are our Roush Sporting Goods players of the game.
Delta Marine is selling boating fun again. Delta has all the power you need for really scooting across the water with one of the many models of Yamaha motors to ski all day long. Delta also has a wide range of boats from such famous manufacturers as Rinker, Champion, Kayat, and many more. Delta has a full line of accessories, plus a service department that can patch up, tune up, and get you back in the water for more fun. Come out to Delta Marine on Bryce Road and see how we sell fun.
High School, we're at halftime right now. Westerville South leads Reynoldsburg by a score of 21-20 as you take a look at the Westerville South High School gym, and we'll tell you about the first half stats. Field goals, first of all, for Reynoldsburg, they were 10 of 19 for 52%. Westerville South 10 of 24 for 42%. From the free throw line, Reynoldsburg 0 out of 4. Westerville South 1 of 2 for 50%. Rebounds 13 for Reynoldsburg, 8 for Westerville South. 13 turnovers for Reynoldsburg in that first half, 10 for Westerville South. Leading rebounders rolling at 4 for Reynoldsburg. Badar had 3 for Westerville South. Scoring for Westerville South, we had Mooney with 9, Miller with 8, Badar with 2, and Reynolds with 2. For Reynoldsburg, rolling 10, Neiman 8, and Shook 2. Coach, your comments in the first half?
Well, it was a ragged start for both teams. Westerville South got off well because Mooney and Miller really had a good offensive first quarter, but Reynoldsburg started to get a little bit of tempo, and the shots started dropping, and now the game's evened up and should be a dogfight the rest of the way.
Alternating possessions, the Raiders have the ball, but Lautner loses it as it's stripped away. Here comes Reynolds the other way. Reynolds out there, puts it up, he got it, 23-20. Reynolds out there along with Miller, Badar, Mooney, and Ramey, the starting 5 to start the second half. For the Raiders, it's Shook, Urbanik, Neiman, Rolling, and Lautner, the starting 5 for the Raiders also. 23-20, 7.5 left to go. Urbanik tries to feed it inside, knocked out of bounds. And they say last touch by Chris Urbanik. A Wildcat didn't touch it, so on the turnover, Westerville South gets the ball back. At the end of one break, it was 10-4 Westerville South, and at halftime, 21-20, as we said. That's Mooney. Gets it to Ramey now. Looking inside, Miller strong to the basket, no good. 2 Wildcats fighting for the rebound inside, and we have a Raider over the back. It looks like it might go on number 22, Ross Shook.
Well, Westerville's doing a good job by really concentrating on getting the ball to Miller. At that time, they cleared out the wing and hit him from the top.
Reynolds inbounds, Miller out to Mooney now. 7-10 third period, 23-20. Reynolds' shot is no good, and we have a foul pushing off inside. Sean Lautner now unofficially has picked up his 3rd foul. Second time he's been caught pushing off inside. We're going with one high camera the rest of the game tonight at midcourt. We've got one camera working right now. Bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. The first time we've had this problem in 3 years. I guarantee you this game won't go into the time capsule from a production standpoint, but this crew has done an outstanding job just getting some of this equipment to work tonight. And I tell you, we've got a great game. Stick around on Coaxial and All-American. 23-20. Mooney working with it outside now. Gets it back to Reynolds. Inside, they try to get it to Bedard. Denied by Neiman. Picked up by Shook. Knocked away by the Wildcats. And out of bounds.
Well, Neiman did a good job. Then the ball came in. He used his outside hand to deflect the ball away. Sometimes a person will come with the inside hand and create contact and thereby foul, but he did a good job there.
23-20, 6:42 left to go, 3rd period. That's Urbanik working on Mooney. Tries to get it inside to Rolling. Tipped away by Mickey Bedard, and Bedard might have picked up the foul there, reaching over the back on Rich Rolling.
Foul on Mickey Bedard, 3rd, team 1st.
Foul does go on Bedard. Lautner to inbound, gets it out to Urbanik. We'll have to check that foul situation on Bedard. They have Bedard for 3 fouls already.
Westerville plays a lot of intensity in their man-to-man. Well, both teams do. These are 2 well-coached teams, Terry Yoakum, Dave Miller, and their teams are well prepared, play hard. That's why they stay in most games that they get involved in.
Foul goes on Troy Mooney. That's his first baseline. Rolling looks inside for Neiman. Neiman trap, can't get the shot off. Gets it back to Rolling. He'll take it from the wing. Yes. And now Rich Rolling cuts the lead to 1, coach, 23-22.
He's a good player. He's got good range. He goes to basketball well. He's got good basketball sense.
12 for Rolling now. 6:10 3rd period. Trap put on by the Raiders. Mooney trying to take it baseline. Gets a screen from Miller. Inside, Reynolds, short, Lautner with the rebound, tries to outlet to Urbanik, over his head, picked up by Ramey on the turnover. That's Reynolds with the ball now, picked up by Lautner. Inside, Miller to the basket, blocked by Rolling, out of bounds, last touch by Rolling, and the Wildcats get the ball back.
He came across the defense and to help out, made a very nice block. It was a clean block.
And the Wildcats take a timeout with 5:46 left to go in the 3rd period. And Westerville South leading by a score of 23-22. Well, we apologize at halftime. We could not get the Wild Cadets on at halftime performing their little number at midcourt because of the technical problems. The crew was working on the equipment. But let's recognize the Wild Cadets and the lady that's responsible for them, Regina Montanero. They performed part of their competition show for the state nationals coming up on February 1st. Part of the program was from the movie That's Dancing, and the other part was from Dance the World Away, a song by Rick Springfield. The captain was Robin Lyons, the first lieutenant Susan Parasino, the second lieutenant Kathy Kondo, the squad leaders Missy Barton, Julie Gahn, and Wendy Stetler. And a reminder that we want to hear from you at Coaxial and All-American. If your school has an event that's coming up, we would like to publicize it for you. If it's school related, be it athletic or academic, drop us a line at Coaxial Communications, 3770 East Livingston Avenue, Columbus, Ohio, 43227. That address again is Coaxial Communications, 3770 East Livingston Avenue, Columbus, Ohio. The zip code is 43227. And you might want to put on the bottom of that, attention sports director, if you will. We appreciate it. 5:46 left to go, 23-22 Westerville South. Wildcats inbound. Miller tries to get it inside. Payne making a strong move to the basket, and he's fouled as he does so.
Well, Payne filled in real well in that 2nd quarter. He came in there and did a good job defensively and kept the void filled on offense, which means he really didn't do that much, but he played his role to allow Miller to stay open on the weak side.
Rolling picks up his first foul. Rolling was in foul trouble in that game Tuesday night against Worthington, but has but 1 tonight. Payne will shoot another. On the season, shooting 50% from the line. Payne averaging just a point a game, as we said. I will be your visual pilot tonight to update you on the score and the time, since we're working with one high camera tonight. 24-22 now with 5:52 left to go. Ross Shook, last touch by Shook, they say, and the ball goes back to the Wildcats.
Westerville went into a 2-2-1 full court press then and created that turnover.
Ramey to inbound. That's Mooney. Turnovers
Reynoldsburg
unofficially. Reynoldsburg coach with 17, Westerville South with 11.
Reynoldsburg used a little bit of a run and jump defense now, starting to pick up at midcourt.
Ramey trying to get by Shook. He can't, brings it back out. That's Reynolds working on Robinson. Takes it inside. Right hand, no good. Rebound pulled down by Neiman, stripped away by Reynolds. I think we have a reach-in foul called on Chad Reynolds. For Chad, unofficially, that would be his first foul in the evening. Team foul number 3 on the Wildcats in the second half.
Well, Chad Reynolds plays hard. He's a good hard player, and he's going to make some things happen out there. He's had a little bit of tough luck at times, but he's the kind of player that'll make a good play for you when you need it.
Chad Reynolds, in fact, coach, has scored in double figures in 9 of the 10 games for the Wildcats. The only game he did not score in double figures was in the Beechcroft game. Here comes Shook, 1-on-2, brings it back out. Urbanik, haven't heard much from Chris Urbanik tonight. Now we have.
good call, Randy. He's a good athlete.
With that basket, we are tied at 24. 4:56 left to go, third period. The first 2 of the evening for Chris Urbanik. Will we have 2 straight overtime games, Coach? What do you think?
Well, it could be. These teams are playing pretty even now. Might be a game where one of them hits a hot streak and jumps out, but I don't think so.
Inside, the pass goes to Miller. Traveling violation call on the Wildcats. I tell you, if we go into overtime, this equipment might explode. Crew did an outstanding job piecing everything together tonight just to get 1 and 2 cameras working tonight and getting the audio to work. We have no idea what you're seeing at home, but we hope you're enjoying the game on coaxial and All-American. Not the quality that we usually bring you. Happens once every 3 years.
Well,
Reach-in foul is called, Coach, on Mike Payne.
That's the quality of a player like Rolling. He came into the backcourt then, handled that ball to beat the pressure, and he's 6'4", and maybe one of the been inside players, but he did a good job then in the backcourt.
It's team foul number 4, the Wildcats. Unofficially now Payne with 3 fouls and Badar with 3 for the Wildcats. That's Urbanik. Raiders looking for the lead for the first time in this ball game. Don Robinson working on Ramey. That's Shook. Reynolds hawking him. Looking inside for Neiman or Rolling. Shot no good. Tipped away off the hands of Miller, and the Raiders get the ball back.
Well, Reynoldsburg again run a little bit of version of the flex there. They're starting to cut, trying to move the defense around to create an opening.
Flex, America's offense. Tipped away by Ramey and knocked out of bounds. The Raiders get the ball back. David Miller of Reynoldsburg High School, 5th year in Raiderland. Spent a year at Worley High School and 4 years at Hamilton Township. Gentleman who believes that you really coach to try to get your team at their best level. He doesn't worry so much about the opponent. He just tries to get his team to execute as well as they can by the end of the regular season so that they're primed for tournament time. Neiman's pass, Urbanik tries to save, and he does just before midcourt. Here comes Shook back the other way now with 3:59 left to go. Neiman will take it baseline, short. That's Reynolds high for the rebound at 5'11". We come back the other way. Lead pass to Mooney.
Well, there's a great play. Reynolds got the rebound, led the break, saw Mooney ahead, made a nice pass to him for a basket.
And now the Wildcats take a 26-24 lead with 3:40 left to go. Robinson inside, no good. Rebound Miller. Outlet to Reynolds, knocked away by Shook, fighting for it, tips it to Don Robinson. Nice play by Ross Shook.
Now these kids on both teams are playing hard, and that's a credit to the game of basketball.
Look up the word scrappy in the dictionary. You find a picture of Ross Shook. Inside for Robinson. It goes off. Payne fighting for it inside. Last touch by Payne and Mooney. And the Raiders get the ball back. Substitutions getting ready to come into the ball game. Mooney will take a seat. Number 12, Dean Vandewater, makes his first appearance of the evening for the Wildcats. 32, Sean Lautner into the game again for the Raiders. And Don Robinson will take a seat. JV game tonight. Reynoldsburg victorious by a score of 43-40. Rolling shot no good. Neiman strong with a rebound. Turnaround jumper off the glass.
He did a good job, Ben. He got high in the air, controlled the ball with his right hand, came down, went right back up and put it in. That was a good athletic play.
And we're tied at 26 with 3:07 left to go. 10 for Neiman now. Vandewater gets it across to Ramey. Shook fighting from behind. The shot is up and good by Aaron Ramey. First 2 on the evening for Ramey, and the Wildcats take a 2-point lead again at 28-26. 2:47 third period. Westerville South jumped out to a fast lead at one time, 10 points. Reynoldsburg whittled away in the second period to cut it to 1 at halftime. And we've been exchanging between 2-point leads and ties so far in the third period, and Joe Neiman will be called for a foul there, reaching in on number 12, Dean Vandewater.
Looked like Joe might have slipped in a little bit. He's got a bad ankle and couldn't get control of himself and slid into the ball handler.
Neiman, one of the three tri-captains for the Raiders, and those three gentlemen all three-year lettermen, and Chris Urbanek, Rich Rolling, and Joe Neiman. But both of these teams very young, as Vandewater will be called for the traveling violation. You go by those first three guys, Coach, you see a lot of seniors, yes, but very little varsity experience. And you take a look at this Westerville South squad, you see a lot of juniors, a couple of sophomores, and not a lot of varsity experience. Miller, the only starter back for Westerville South.
Well, you saw a play there by Vandewater. He picked that ball up without an idea what he wanted to do with it. Now, that's experience. That's not any knock on him, but if you're going to play in the backcourt, you should have an out on every play to what you're going to do with the ball. If what you primarily want to do doesn't show or isn't there.
Mooney back in for Vandewater now. 2:22 left to go. 28-26 Westerville South. Lautner tries to get it inside to Neiman, and it's kicked by Ramey. Raiders get the ball back. Don Robinson checks back in for the Raiders, and Joe Neiman will take a seat. Reminder, coming up next Friday night, we'll be at DeSales High School when the St. Charles Cardinals take on the DeSales Stallions. Playback games next week, Friday night, 11 p.m., Saturday at 6 p.m., Sunday at 8 p.m. on Coaxial Channel 16, All-American Channel 26. Fought for inside. We have a foul over the back called on number 34, Rich Rolling. For Rolling, that'll be his second, and that'll be team foul number 5 on Reynoldsburg in the second half. So the Wildcats will be shooting 1-1.
Now, that could be a factor. I just felt like when I was coaching that it was always good to get into that one-on-one before the other team, because then your aggressive offense put your shooters on the foul line if you couldn't score.
What an interesting game we had Tuesday night, and that Groveport went nearly a quarter and a half in that second half before they committed their first team foul. That's the longest we've seen in high school basketball in a long time. 8 points for Miller on the evening. Payne fighting for the rebound. Here comes Urbanek with 2:06 left to go, and the Raiders down by 2. Baseline puts it up. We're tied at 28. 4 for Urbanek. Under 2 left to go in the third period. Mooney cutting that press very well to the basket. Nice play by Troy Mooney.
There's 2 great solo plays. Urbanek went all the way and laid it up, and Mooney retaliated with an equally well driving layup.
Wide receiver to wide receiver. 13 now for Mooney. A 2-point lead at 30-28. 1:38 left to go, third period. Rolling makes his move to the basket from 6. He's got it.
Now, he's got to get back in the offense again like he did in the first half, because he's got a lot of talent. They need him in that deep spot.
And Ramey, looking for help, is called for the 5-second violation. Could not get the ball in time. Let's remind everybody, Coach, that you cannot call a timeout once it's reached 4 in the count, and it must touch someone's hand before 5 in that count. It did not happen that time for the Wildcats. The Raiders now have a chance to take the lead with 1:24 left to go and tied at 30. That's Robinson. Inside for Lautner. The pass goes astray. Mooney on the turnover. Lead pass. Ramey all alone. Here comes Robinson. Can't get there in time.
Good pass from Mooney for the layup.
32-30. We're down to 1:07 left to go, third period. Here comes Chris Urbanek working on Troy Mooney one more time. That's Shook. And we've got a blocking foul called on number 24, Chad Reynolds.
It seems like both teams now are still in that a little bit of tightness yet. They're trying to force the ball, but I guess maybe when things aren't going well with the offensive set, that you got to make things happen one-on-one. That looks like what's happening right now. They're getting a lot of one-on-one play, and probably that's the way it should be.
Reynolds picks up his second foul, and at the same time will take a seat. He's replaced by number 20, Andy Howard. Andy's a 5'11 senior, averaging just over 2 points a game. 55 seconds left to go in the third period. Ross Shook will go to the line. Shook averaging 3 points a game, shooting just about 29% from the line on the season. He'll have a 1-and-1. Payne comes down with it, tipped away though. Here comes Robinson now for the Raiders. Shook will set it up. What started out, Coach, as a game where I wondered if we would reach to 30 has picked up with offensive intensity in the second and third period here with 45 seconds left to go at 32-30. But we expected a low-scoring game. We talked about the defense of the Raiders giving up but 46 points a game. Westerville South, Wildcats no slouches either, giving up but 52.6 points a game. Inside, Rolling has it knocked away by Miller. And will the foul go on Miller? If it does, that would be his second.
Now they got the overload on that side and got the ball inside.
They call it on Troy Mooney instead. For Troy, that's his second foul. Interesting, Coach. Westerville South, a record of 3-7. But to show you how competitive and how close those games have been that we were talking about. Their offensive average is 51.6 points a game. They've been giving up 52.6 points a game, just one more point.
Well, that's Terry's characteristic of Terry Yoakum's ball clubs. They play good sound defense, work for good shot selection, and that's why he wins a lot of ball games, especially close games. They're just going against him now due to the reason that maybe it's not supposed to win early, and hopefully that for Terry's sake, maybe they will come around and those games will come their way at the second round.
Rolling with exactly half of the Raiders' points right now, and we're tied at 32 with 37 seconds left to go. Ramey looking for a trap in backcourt, gets it up to Mooney across the timeline with half a minute left to go. Travis Perry into the game for the Raiders. Replace Ross Shook. That's Howard now. Looks like the Wildcats content to look for one as we wind down into the third period. Ramey gets it back to Howard right now. Down to 12 seconds left to go. Inside Miller, 10. Turnaround jumper, no good. Fought for with 7 seconds, rolling with a rebound. Robinson with 5. Outlets to Lautner with 3, with 2. Mooney's desperation pass and shot. He stepped out of bounds, so the Raiders will get the ball back with 1 second left to go. Do you have a nice play to run with 1 second, Coach?
Pardon me?
Do you have a nice play to run with 1 second?
That's called the hope play, you know, the
Bobby
Hail Mary
Wilkerson jam.
and over your back or something.
Travis Perry will inbound for the Raiders. I saw Wilkerson 3 times in a game score a basket with 1 second left to go in the first, second, and third period on alley-oops. Urbanik hesitates for just a second, can't get the shot off in time, and we're ending the third period with a tie score, 32-32. We'll be back with a fourth quarter from Westerville South High School in just a moment.
Uno means number one for deep dish pizza and fun. Uno means number one for raising your spirits when the day is done. Uno is perfect for lunch and dinner too, and number one for late night snacks, it's true. Uno means number one for deep dish pizza and fun. Right from Chicago, Uno means number one. Pizzeria Uno, restaurant and bar.
Welcome back to Westerville South High School. At the end of 3 periods of play, we are tied at 32. Let's take a look at the stats right now. Scoring-wise for Westerville South, Mooney has 13, Miller with 8, Reynolds 4, Ramey 4, Badar with 2, and Payne with 1 point. For the Raiders of Reynoldsburg, Rolling has 16, Neiman has 10, Urbanik has 4, and Shook has 2 points. So 6 players in the scoring column for the Wildcats, and but 4 for the Raiders as we head into the fourth and final period. Coach, any ideas what the keys might be in this fourth quarter?
Well, they did a good job containing Miller then by stopping the inside pass. Mooney kept him in the ball game, but it's just going to be that kind of a game. They're going to have to slug it out right down to the end with hope of somebody making a good play.
And Coach, I've lost my volume on you again, but I think I got the gist of that with 7:56 left to go. Westerville South on alternating possessions has the ball inside. Miller with a basket.
Well, that's what they weren't doing in the third quarter. They couldn't get the ball into him. They started off this quarter correctly, but then again, why he's got to be the hub of their offense down deep.
Miller with 10, 34-32 in favor of Westerville South. As I said, the CG is not functioning tonight. I am your visual captain for CG information. And we've got a foul called on the play with 7:32 left to go. Will go on the Wildcats. It will go on number 24, Chad Reynolds. For Chad, that is his third foul. So now Reynolds has 3, Payne has 3, and Badar has 3. For Reynoldsburg, unofficially, only 1 player with 3 fouls. That is Sean Lautner on the evening. Going to the line will be Ross Shook. Shook out of 2 from the line now. Rebound pulled down by Miller. Howard out there along with Mooney, Miller, Badar, and Reynolds for the Wildcats. For the Raiders, it's Shook, Urbanik, Lautner, Rolling, and Neiman. And Neiman has the rebound. Taken away by Reynolds to the basket. He got it.
That was a good hustling play. He sort of hid behind a Reynoldsburg inbound person and sneaked in and got the ball and laid it up.
And now a 4-point lead for Westerville South at 36-32, 7:05 left to go. Shook gets it to Lautner. Picked up by Howard. Top of the key, that's Neiman. Hawked by Reynolds. Shook will take it, but we have A 3-second violation called inside. 3-second violation called, I believe, on Sean Lautner inside. Not much of a signal given to us by Bill Mason out there, but that was the call. Lautner in the lane for more than 3, and this time Urbanek returns the favor and steals it for the Raiders. Cross court, Lautner, nice catch, blocked from behind by Miller. Urbanek double pumps, no good, fought for inside. Lautner and Reynolds go flying out of bounds, and the ball goes to the Wildcats.
Reynoldsburg really got hurt there. They had a couple great opportunities to score, and unfortunately they couldn't.
And Bedard with the cross-court pass is fouled by Rolling. Rolling had no fouls in the first half, but unofficially has picked up very quickly, 3 here in the second half. Timeout taken by the Raiders. 6:39 left to go in tonight's 4th and final period. Westerville South leading 36-32. And we'd like to remind everyone about the Westerville South High School Marching Band. You know, the 1985 Westerville South High School Marching Band competed in the Fiesta Bowl pageant in Tempe, Arizona on December 29th and brought several honors back to Westerville, Ohio with them. As well as being crowned the 1985 Fiesta Bowl Pageant of Bands champions, they received first place in the categories of Best Music, Best Marching, and Best Percussion. They also received second place in the General Effect category, as well as receiving the Friendship Award. Being crowned champions gave the band the honor of marching pregame at the Fiesta Bowl football game. That was the Nebraska-Michigan game, which turned out to be a whale of a game. The band also represented Ohio as the leaders of the Fiesta Bowl parade. So congratulations to the Westerville South Marching Band. Coach, you believe that Rolling has 4 personal fouls?
Well, what you have to do now is, in Dave Miller's position, is to realize whether you want to keep Rolling in the game with 4 fouls or take him out and let him sit. With the game in this frame 4 points behind, I think he's going to make the right decision by letting him play, and naturally he has to depend upon Rolling's ability to try to stay away from the 5th foul, but that's kind of hard to do.
I'm going to bet you a stick of gum, Coach, he only has 3.
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's what I was wondering, if he had the 4 or not.
I think he has 3. We'll check that out, but needless to say, a stick of gum is going to change hands at the end of tonight's game. Inside, a foul over the back called on Miller. Fouls mounting up right now for both of these teams.
Fouls on Scott Miller, his second.
For Miller, that is his second foul. With 6:38 left to go, Rich Rolling will go to the line. Rich averaging 13 points a game. Remind you once again, we're working with one high camera. Technical problems galore for the first time in 3 years doing high school sports. And we're riding out the storm tonight, so we get a little tongue-tied and have no visual concept of what's happening. Please bear with us. Rolling 3 out of 3 from the line so far in the evening. He'll have another. Back into the game, Aaron Ramey. He replaces number 20, Andy Howard. Rolling with 17 points on the evening, looking for 18. No good. That's Reynolds with the rebound.
He seems to be in the right place at the right time. He's got good instinct and plays well.
Bedard open underneath, blocked by Rolling and out of bounds.
I think you're right, Randy. He must only have 3 to make a play like that.
You don't play that intense and with that much fervor when you've got 4 fouls. Urbanek just misses the steal. Reynolds holds on, 6:22 left to go. Westerville South up by 3 at 36-33. That's Mooney with it now. Raiders now, coach, looks like camp back in that 2-3. See if the Wildcats try to force the Raiders to come out and play man and man, and let's see if they try to trap the ball too. As we approach the 6-minute mark in the 4th period, at the end of one, Westerville South up 10-4, 21-20. Wildcats up at halftime. We were tied 32-all at the end of 3. Ramey gets it over to Reynolds. Wildcats now look content, coach, to run a little time off the clock. Shook nearly tips that away.
Well, this is the type of game where right now they're in a ball control situation, but neither team has showed the offensive power. So again, they're going right back to their bread and butter. Try to get that pass down inside.
Strong block inside by Rolling. He got most of the ball, but he also got part of the body of young Scott Miller. And for Rolling, he'll pick up the foul. Let's see who wins a stick of bubble gum. I'd like Tutti Frutti, coach.
I was going to ask if you used sugar-free or sugar.
Foul number 4 now on Rolling, so Miller will go to the line. 4-point lead for the Wildcats now at 37-33, 12. Check that, 1 out of 2 for Miller from the line on the evening. 11 points, a chance to make it 12 now, and he does so, and a 5-point lead for the Wildcats.
Free throw shooting becomes a very vital part of any game, especially down in the last 5 minutes.
From the line on the season, Westerville South hitting 72% of their free throws. The Raiders, 58.5. Lautner looking for help. Cross court, gets it to Urbanek. Trying to move on Mooney. Walks off baseline. He'll take a turnaround jumper from 9, in and out. Lautner fighting, but goes over the back, trying to get the ball. And for Sean Lautner, that will be his 4th foul. So unofficially now for the Raiders, Sean Lautner with 4 and Rich Rolling with 4 for the Westerville South Wildcats. Chad Reynolds has 3 fouls. Mike Payne has 3, and Mickey Bedard with 3 fouls.
Well, that shows you what good position will do. He got inside then, even though he's much shorter. Lautner had to go over his back and created the foul.
While we have the time right now, I'd like to thank Ron Jones, the athletic director here at Westerville South High School, for putting us in this great vantage point right here. The penthouse looking down, a great view of the court. Also did a lot to help us try to revitalize the truck and give it a second life. And we'd like to thank Ron Jones, the AD here at Westerville South. 5 points for Ramey on the evening, going for 6. The lead stays at 6. Here comes Urbanek the other way with 5:14 left to go. Puts it up off balance, no good, fighting for his rebound, and Urbanek goes over the back, and he will be charged for the foul. Seems like with 5 minutes and 10 seconds left, Coach, the Raiders, granted, are down by 6, but they seem to be pushing it just a little bit too much and panicking perhaps on offense.
Well, it could be. You know, in other words, they've been struggling on offense, and Rolling's been their ace. Neiman's really not been involved that much in the second half, so I think now they're just trying to take over in a one-on-one situation, try to get back in the ball game.
And when these two teams really get together, Coach, you can throw the records out the window. And another thing, a slower tempo game like this quite often can make a team get a little lax, a little hesitant, and a little sleepy sometimes. So right now the Raiders probably are at a key point in this game. They could go down by 8 points if Bedard hits his second free throw. He does, an 8-point lead at 41-33, 4 points for Mickey Bedard. 5:05 left to go. Shook working on Reynolds. Rolling, trying to get by Bedard, puts up the shot. He got it. Looks like he might have gotten away with a step or two, but picks up the basket, cuts the lead now to 6 at 41-35. Mooney splits the pressure to the basket, puts it up, and we've got a reach-in foul called on Joe Neiman.
Well, Mooney's got great quickness and good strength, and he really went for the bucket hard and just barely missed the layup, but he is going to go to the foul line.
For Neiman, foul number 2 on the evening. Sends number 22, Troy Mooney, to the line. 13 for Mooney on the evening. The other thing about Troy Mooney, Coach, averaging 5.5 assists per game. 2 out of 3 from the line. Advances the lead to 7 at 42-35. He'll have another. Back to 8 again.
Well, they're hitting the free throw line. That's what's extending their lead and keeping them in not in a safe position, but in a comfortable position this time.
Shook tries to dish off. No one there on the turnover. Here come the Wildcats up by 8, pushing it up court. 4:36 left to go. Reynolds to the basket. Strong move, but do we have an offensive foul? We do. The basket is no good.
Well, he went to the bucket hard, Dan. He had determination to get the ball, and I think he realized he fouled, but he thought the basket should have counted. And of course, Tom Vendatelli, who's an excellent official, was good position and took the basket away and called the charge.
For Reynolds, that's his 4th foul on the evening. So now Reynolds has 4, Payne with 3, and Bedard unofficially with 3 for the Wildcats. 4:33 left to go, an 8-point lead for the Wildcats. Reminder, coming up next Friday, Coach and I will be at DeSales High School as the Stallions, who are taking on Worley tonight. No enviable task at all, let me say. We'll have them playing St. Charles Friday at 11, Saturday at 6. And next Sunday at 8 p.m. on Coaxial Channel 16, All-American Channel 26. On the turnover, here come the Wildcats with 4:25 left to go. That's what we were talking about before, Coach. Sometimes in a game like this, it's a tendency not to be as crisp with your passing and with your offense when the pace is a little slower and the score is kept down somewhat. That's Ramey with it.
Well, Westerville's got 3 good ball handlers in there, and Ramey, Chadwell, and Mooney. And so therefore they're going to spread that floor out now and make Reynoldsburg come out, and of course they're on the one-on-one, so that's an advantage at this time.
They do take it to the 4 corners, and Robinson reaches in for the foul for Don Robinson, his 2nd foul on the evening, and that will send Chad Reynolds to the line.
Chad Reynolds at the line.
Also like to thank the athletic director from Reynoldsburg High School, Mike Sammons, for all his help. And a reminder, at the end of tonight's game, we'll be picking our Roush Sporting Goods, Coaxial Communications, and All-American Cablevision players of the game, one from each school. Rolling with a rebound. 4 minutes exactly left to go. 43-35, Westerville South. Shook passes up the shot, back out to Urbanik. Robinson looking inside. He'll take it himself. Back of the iron, no good. And pushing from behind is Scott Miller to pick up the foul. Miller working on rolling inside, looking for a rebounding position, pushed off, and was called for the foul.
Now, Rolling moves around well in that post area, and that time he's cutting across, and Miller's a little bit late trying to cut him off and foul him.
For Miller, foul number 3 on the evening. Rolling with 19 points on the evening, 3 out of 4 from the line. Wildcats rebound. Here comes Mooney. Loses the handle. Last touch by Mooney, they said, and the ball will go back to the Raiders with 3:44 left to go.
Reynoldsburg's not converting from that foul line. If that clock stopped, that's one of their only hopes of trying to get back. With the score against them by 8 points, they've got to make something happen and hit the free throws.
That's Robinson. Unofficially, we have the Raiders with 22 turnovers, Westerville South with 20. Urbanik cuts the lead now to 6 at 43-37, 3:27 left to go. Pressure put on by the Raiders. Ramey tries to inbound. Urbanik is called for a reach-in on Mooney.
Well, that was a hustle foul there. He had to go after the ball. You can't stand back and let them control the ball.
For Urbanik, his 3rd foul on the evening. That will send Troy Mooney to the line with 3:24 left to go. Mooney played about half the games last year for the Wildcats, meaning that he saw probably 2 quarters of action out of the 4 played in the varsity games last year. 6 points on the evening. Rolling finally with a rebound for the Wildcats. 3:20 left to go, 43-37. Urbanik now will set up the offense for the Raiders. Dishes off to Robinson. Baseline Urbanik. He'll take it. Yes. What was 8 is now 4 at 43-39.
He's hit 2 clutch baskets here, and it's given them momentum now. And Westerville's been a delay game. They may have a hard time recreating something.
We saw that last Tuesday night with the Groveport Cruisers coach. They had that lead against Bexley. Took a little air out of the ball, and they had a hard time regrouping offensively. 3 minutes exactly left to go in the 4th period, 43-39. Mooney open to the basket. He got the roll.
Super play. Coach Oakham's got to be happy with the play of his outside people in this game. He's a little bit concerned about it earlier, but I'm sure that he'll smile when he looks at the video of this game.
Rolling, makes a move strong to the basket. Short, no good. Fought for. Bedard with the rebound off the floor. Gets it out to Ramey. 2:35 left to go. Looks for help. Shook knocks it away. Tries to dish it back out to a Raider, and they call a jump ball. I don't know about that one. And in alternating possessions, the Raiders will get the ball. Shook was trying to dish off to either Lautner or Urbanik back underneath the basket there, and dished the ball back. No one was there. The ball rolled out of bounds. The jump ball was called. Alternating possessions, remember. The ball will go to the Raiders with 2:31 left to go. A chance to cut that lead back to 4.
Better touch that ball. That 5-second count keeps going.
Exactly. You have to touch that ball within 5 seconds. Saw Georgetown get called for that twice already this season, trying to save time. Shook with the ball now. Top of the key, rolling. He'll take it from 15. Yes.
We got a ball game again.
Plenty of time left. 45, 41, 2:12. That's Ramey. Wildcats with 3 ball handlers on the court right now. Robinson tries to reach in from behind. He knocks that out of bounds. Wildcats get the ball back.
That was a sensible play. Even if you foul there, that clock's against you right now. 4 points isn't that much, but you got to be aggressive and try to get control of the game by momentum change.
Rolling with 21 points already on the evening for the Raiders. Reynolds fighting, and we've got a double dribble violation called on Chad Reynolds with 1:55. The Raiders get the ball back. Kind of game where you almost have to slap yourself a few times to make sure you're awake out there. The only thing that's really helped more than anything else is the fact that the equipment has gone astray. Baseline, Robinson. Tries to make a move inside to the basket. Off the glass, in and out, no good. Strong rebound inside by Ramey, and Sean Lautner unofficially is just fouled out of the ball game.
That could be exchange there of almost 4 points. That ball was down and came out, and it created the foul, which gives them the opportunity for the 1-on-1.
And so Travis Perry will come into the ball game to replace Lautner. Lautner checks out with 1:44 left to go in tonight's ball game, sending number 14 Aaron Ramey to the line. And we've got a timeout called on the court with 1:44 left to go, and Westerville South leading by 4 at 45-41. We're at Westerville South High School. Let's take a look at some events coming up at Westerville South. On January 11th, the North-South swim meet will be held at 11 a.m. at the J.C. Pool. January 17th, boys basketball at Worthington at 6:30 p.m. Girls basketball with Worthington at home at 6:30 p.m. And wrestling at Licking Heights. The Licking Heights tournament taking place there, I believe. January 18th, girls swimming at the Orange Invitational at 11 a.m. And on January 21st, boys basketball at Gahanna at 6:30 p.m. The JV game starts. And girls basketball with Gahanna at home at 6:30 p.m. 45-41, 1:44 left to go, Coach. If you're Terry Yoakum right now, what are you talking about in that Wildcat huddle?
Well, of course, they've been in a four-corner delay type game. I think you've got to go back to their offense and try to get the ball down inside the Miller, or get the ball out on the break with Mooney, Chadwell, either one of them leading the break, because I really feel like with a minute 44, the momentum has changed to Reynoldsburg.
That 4-point deficit, though, staring the Raiders in the face. We talked about Terry Yoakum, 19 years of coaching altogether. You know, he's been here for 16 years, but his first 3 years, he was really schooled well, I think, at Eastmore High School as an assistant in football and basketball. Terry Yoakum's done an outstanding job with his program at Westerville South High School, as David Miller has at Reynoldsburg High School. Ramey, no good, fought for inside, rolling, pulls down the rebound, 1:42 left to go. The Raiders trying to cut that 4-point lead down. That's Urbanik. He's open from 18. Back of the iron. Fought for inside. Bodies everywhere. And the foul will go on Westerville South. It goes on Mickey Badar. That is his 4th foul. We can confirm that now. So Badar has 4 and Reynolds has 4 for the Wildcats. Scott Miller with 3 and Mike Payne with 3. Rolling for Reynoldsburg has 3. Urbanik has 3. And those are the gentlemen in foul trouble tonight, as Westerville South will take a timeout now with 1:32 left to go in tonight's ball game, and they lead by 4 at 45-41.
Well, that 15-foot stripe becomes more and more important now on both ends of the court. Ramey just missed the front part of a 1-on-1 here. Robinson's got a chance to cut that lead to 2 points. So foul shooting, ever since I've been involved in the game, is a very, very important part.
A couple other events I want to touch on very quickly. St. Charles has their Las Vegas night coming up Saturday, January 18th, 7 p.m. to 1 a.m., $6 the admission price. That includes free refreshments and food. And they have their annual cabaret coming up March 21st and 22nd. That's a Friday and Saturday combination, 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. on that Friday night. You can see Phil Dirt and the Dozers perform. And I tell you, it's $35 for a couple both nights, $18 for a single person. You might want to check that out. March 21st and 22nd at St. Charles High School. 45-41 the score, 92 seconds left to go in tonight's ball game. And Coach, we've had a lot of these close ball games, nip and tuck. Probably the slowest paced ball game we've had right now. Well, we've had a chance to take a look at both of these huddles, and I think you hit it right on the nose. I think foul shooting down this last minute and 32 seconds could be the key in this ball game. Robinson to go to the line, a 58% free throw shooter on the season. Back of the iron, Urbanik with the rebound though. Strong move, one hand to the basket, no good, fought for inside. Mooney dribbles out of there with it. 1:24 left to go, looks long for Ramey, and Ramey controls it. Wildcats bring it out now and spread it out to that 4 corners again. Knocked away from Mooney, Perry reaching in. Looking for help. Ramey makes a move to the basket, puts it up, he got it.
And Mooney just did a great job of controlling that basketball throughout all that melee. He had the presence of mind to hit Ramey twice, and the second time Ramey was able to get the bucket.
Urbanik loses the handle inside, and we've got a reach-in foul called on the Raiders. It will go on Don Robinson. For Don, that will be his 3rd foul, and now the Wildcats with a 6-point lead, 59 seconds left to go, and they'll be going to the line. Coach, while I have the chance right now, I'd like to thank the entire Coaxial Communication Productions crew for working under adverse conditions tonight, just trying to get the equipment to work. I'd like to thank Frank Shepard from Patlin Electronics, who made a trek over to Westerville South High School to help us out tonight, and the entire crew, Joe Tanzarello, Mark McComas, Carlo Y. Banks, Drexel Yokoyama, Paul Hazlett, Kevin McComas, Stefan Salters, everyone, Larry Grandy, who make high school basketball possible. We've got a reach-in foul called on Troy Mooney, and boy, if you're Terry Yoakum, that's one thing you don't want to see is that clock stop, and the Raiders with a chance to cut that lead.
Well, that's true, but I think Mooney's characteristic play is to be aggressive and hustle, and you can't tell a guy to turn that off and turn it on at any time. He's going to be after that basketball. Maybe that's why they got that lead, because his aggressive play stood out in this last quarter.
And hello to the folks at All-American, too, for joining us tonight. Urbanic's shot in and out, no good. Raiders have had some tough luck with that basket the last 2 minutes. Here comes Mooney with 49 seconds left to go. Tries to take a baseline, slides down, out of bounds. The Raiders will get the ball back with 44 seconds left to go, down by 6.
Reynoldsburg still got an outside shot, 44 seconds. They've got some timeouts, so therefore they could be, with this basket, a chance to call a timeout and get back in the ball game.
Urbanic, baseline to the basket, puts it up, he got it. It's now a 4-point lead, 47-43, 35 seconds left to go. 5 men guarding 4, pressure put on. They inbound it to Miller. Cross court to Mooney, across the timeline, 28 seconds left to go. And a blocking foul will be called on Don Robinson. For Robinson, as we said, foul number 4 with 27 seconds left to go. The Wildcats up by 4, 47-43. And the Raiders will take a timeout.
I was surprised they didn't call that timeout after that basket. However, Coach Miller knew what he was doing. Maybe he wanted to save it for this occasion where they could get better organized.
27 seconds left to go. Thank you to the folks over at All-American Cablevision, Marketing Manager Steve Tercel, Program and Production Manager Jack Woodard, along with Kendall Hooten and Playback Technician Tom Albright. Thanks to the folks at Coaxial, David Geddes, John Clark, Joel Rudich for all their help, and the Playback Technicians over at Coaxial Communications. These are the kind of games that really test you. We know what it's like when the players are out there having a tough night, and we're getting trial by fire tonight, Coach, with everything else going wrong, but a very good and competitive basketball game tonight, as we have some talent going on.
That's the best move I've seen all night. Best
freelance gymnasts out on the court right now. I tell you, wish I could have done that. Maybe I could have been a male version of Nadia Comaneci. I've got the same build. 27 seconds left to go. Fourth quarter field goal percentage. Reynoldsburg unofficially 4 of 12, 33%. Westerville South 3 of 5, 60%. That was a couple of minutes ago. Take a look at this from the free throw line. Reynoldsburg is 3 of 12 for 22%. Westerville South 9 of 18 for 50%. Troy Mooney goes to the line. 27 seconds left to go. His Wildcats up by 4. He'll be shooting a 1-and-1. Mooney 3 out of 5 from the line on the evening. That one tickled the net a couple of times.
Well, that was the kind that you look back at and you say, gee, I'm glad it went in.
8 for Mooney. 5-point lead now for the Wildcats, 48-43. No good. Fought for. Rolling with the rebound. 25 seconds left to go. Here comes Rolling. Tries to get it on the wing. Picked up by Robinson now with 19 seconds. Robinson strong to the basket. He's got it with 15 seconds left to go. Timeout taken by the Raiders. I believe that previous timeout might have been taken by Troy Mooney of the Wildcats. We cannot see from our vantage point. We cannot see the monitor from our vantage point. 14 seconds left to go. A 3-point lead now, 48-45. Coach, what do you do if you're the Raiders on defense here? Do you allow them to inbound the ball and then try to foul within a few seconds?
Well, you got this point now that they've been shaky at the foul line, Westerville South, and it may be that if they can't control that ball after the initial pass in, they should foul immediately and not let that clock run down, because anything that happens beyond midcourt now has got to be negative. They've got to foul in the backcourt.
With 14 seconds left to go, a reminder, as you see David Miller, head coach from the Raiders, on your screen right now, his 5th year at Reynoldsburg High School, that we want to hear from you at Coaxial and All-American. If you've seen our other games this season, you know this is not the standard of quality we normally try to bring you from a technical standpoint. But we'd like to hear from you. If you have a question, a comment, anything we can help you with regarding high school sports, please drop us a line to Coaxial Communications, 3770 East Livingston Avenue, Columbus, Ohio, 43227. Once again, that's Coaxial Communications, 3770 East Livingston Avenue, Columbus, Ohio, and the zip code is 43227. A reminder, too, Coach, that after a basket like this, the inbounding player for the Wildcats can roam the length of that sideline. After a basket, it is not a spot.
Right.
It is anywhere along that sideline. So you can watch Ramey run up and down that sideline trying to look for somebody. He inbounds to Mooney with 13, and quickly a foul. Only 2 seconds go off the clock. We'll see who it's on, if it's on Robinson or if it's on Urbanek. If it's on Robinson, he's gone.
Well, he had to commit the foul because he couldn't let that ball advance beyond that point.
Robinson fouls out of the ball game. Ben Richards, a 6'2 senior, will check into the ball game. Rowland can't really give a foul for the Raiders either. Urbanek has 3 on the evening. Lautner's already fouled out. We have Reynolds with 4 for the Wildcats. Badar has 4. Payne and Miller with 3 each. Reynolds takes a seat, and Howard comes back into the ball game for the Wildcats. Mooney at the line now. 3-point lead. 12 seconds left to go. 5 out of 8 from the line for Mooney.
Well, that was a clutch free throw there. That puts it back to a 2-basket ball game. Now Reynoldsburg has to score 3 times to win.
19 for Mooney. Still 19. Still time for the Raiders. 49-45. Urbanek with 8, with 7, with 6. The shot is no good. It tipped in with 4 seconds left to go. 49-47, 2 seconds left to go, and we've got this could be a technical or an intentional foul, fouling out of bounds like that with 1 second left to go. That will be a technical foul when you foul out of bounds.
Well, it was the only chance they had because the time was running out, and it was a good heads-up play by Rowland.
And that means free throw and possession, remember, too. So the Wildcats will probably try to inbound the ball after these free throws and just throw a pass in the direction of their basket, try to loop it high and long down there. By the time someone touches it and tries to return it, it would be too late. That clinches it, though, right there at 50-47.
That was sort of a situation like Dizzy Dean used to say, you got 2 chances, slim and none, so it looks like it's a none now.
And now if you're Ramey inbounding for the Wildcats, you can just heave that ball in the direction of your basket. Badar has it, he'll hold it, and that's it. The Wildcats fight hard in that 4th period, outscoring Reynoldsburg 18-15. They come out with a victory by a final score of 50-47. Coach and I will be back with some final comments in just a moment.
Ring out the old year with Sun's Big After Christmas Sale and year-end closeouts. Stack up on Duracell batteries for all those battery-operated toys, cameras, games, radios, calculators, and other items you got for Christmas. Right now, a package of 2 Duracell batteries, 97 cents. Choose C, D, Penlight, or AAA sizes. Or get 1 9-volt battery for only 97 cents. At this low price, get lots to take care of all of your needs. Don't miss the Big After Christmas Sale and year-end closeouts at Sun.
The old car's good enough. Mama, for you, nothing is good enough.
We got it just for you.
You 3 are trouble enough.
It's a Chesron Olds.
Oh.
No, no, no. Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Yes, yes, yes.
Chesron Oldsmobile, GMC. Everyone's going to Barry's Barbell and Equipment Company. Barry's is Central Ohio's supermarket for exercise equipment, representing over 80 manufacturers. Barry's has all types of equipment to help you shape up and keep in shape. Work out at home, in your office, or have Barry's equip a complete fitness center. You're never too old or too young to start a fitness program. You'll feel better, you'll look better. Barry's knowledgeable personnel will gladly demonstrate and explain any piece of equipment. So hurry on into Barry's Barbell and Equipment Company, north in the Bethel Center and east at 2995 East Livingston Avenue at James Road. Open 7 days a week. For the largest selection of auto parts at low, low prices, take Route 22 West from Circleville to Williamsport, the home of Deer Creek Auto Parts. Look for the car in the sky. More and more late model parts arrive daily. Many late model cars have been partially damaged, but the rest of the car parts are nearly perfect. Deer Creek has a variety of front ends available. Unharmed are the bumpers, fenders, headlights, and grille. Also available are engines, rear ends, doors, and other sheet metal parts. Call toll-free. Deer Creek delivers to Columbus.
The final score tonight, 50-47. The Wildcats come out with a victory, move to 4-7 on the season. The Raiders go to 6-3. Our Roush Sporting Goods players of the game, first of all, from Reynoldsburg High School, we pick Rich Rolling. Rich, we had unofficially 10 out of 16 from the field, 3 out of 5 from the free throw line, 11 rebounds for 23 points. So Rich Rolling is a player of the game from Reynoldsburg High School. From Westerville South High School, we picked number 22, Troy Mooney. Troy with 19 points, 7 out of 8 from the field, 5 of 9 from the free throw line, and 3 rebounds. Those are our players of the game from Westerville South High School. And right now, since we're down to one camera, I'm going to casually walk over like Edward Armiro and give it to Coach Russ Gregg, who's here with winning coach Terry Yoakum. Coach?
Terry, after a lot of close losses tonight, your team came through and I thought put on a very gutty performance in winning this game tonight. What's your comments on the game?
Well, Russ, I agree with you. It was, it's tough when you've lost a lot of close ones to keep coming back each week and then you fall short again and to get them back up. But we tried at half to say we've got to play hard. We've got to make things happen. I don't think it was a real pretty game, but we went after it, and I thought Troy Mooney, his leadership's very important to us. He's our point guard, and when he comes out and plays like that, everybody else seems to play too.
Well, that's what I thought in the back part of the game, Mayor. I thought that Chadwell, Ramey, and Mooney, the three together, got a lot of loose balls, and they really kept control of the game as well as they could because Miller, they'd shut him down a little bit, and I thought you used him well, but I did think your guard play tonight probably is going to make you smile a little bit. That's what I commented on television.
Yeah, I was happy the way they handled the ball. I thought, like you said, they got some defensive steals. We converted some breaks tonight, too. In a close ball games, you can get an easy basket. That's a real boost to you.
Well, I used to think an inside play was where it was, but I really believe guard play in the last 5 years with all the pressure and so forth has come around to be the most important part. Well, congratulations, Terry. Good luck to your team, and we'll be back to Randy now.
Thanks, Russ.
Congratulations, Coach. And, Coach, I've got a present for you if you can hold those up. We were talking about the Roush Sporting Goods players of the game. Coach can show you that, first of all, the player will get that framed certificate, and the school will receive that engraved plaque in the player's name. So congratulations to Rich Rolling and to Troy Mooney. Take a look at the scoring in tonight's game. First of all, for the Wildcats of Westerville South, Mooney had 19, Miller 13, Ramey had 7, Badar with 4, Reynolds had 6, and Payne had 1. And a reminder once again, Troy Mooney's name will be on here for Westerville South, and also Rich Rolling will be getting one of these too. You're a very good Vanna White, Coach. You can put those down right now. Let's take a look once again now the scoring for the Reynoldsburg Raiders. Rolling has 23 points, Neiman with 10, Urbanik with 10, Shook had 2, and Robinson had 2 points. The scoring in tonight's game at the end of one period, Westerville South led by a score of 10-4. It was 21-20 Wildcats at halftime, 32-32. They were tied at the end of 3, and the Wildcats outscoring the Raiders 18-15 to come out with a 50-47 victory. A reminder, next Friday night, St. Charles and DeSales. Stay with us. The equipment will get well. I'm Randy Reinhardt for the entire Coaxial Communications Productions crew. So long from Westerville South High School.